Coming up next on the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time, we look at WWE Battleground with Be the Booker. It's tomorrow night on pay-per-view and the WWE Network. And also, what is Sting's role going to be in WWE? We found out last Monday night on Raw. And why was Ric Flair even on Raw? And TNA does their first show from New York's Hammerstein Ballroom. We'll talk about that right here, right now on My 24 Milwaukee.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts David Hero and Damien Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night here on My 24 Milwaukee and on PWRshow.com. Damien Nelson sitting alongside David Tiberius Hero.
Well, at least I get something out of this now. I mean, I get a little extra introduction.
You get what you give.
I give a lot. I'm a giver.
How are you here on Saturday, July 19th?
You know what? I am fantastic. I am ready for the weekend. It was a long week without you around.
Cheers to the freaking weekend.
Yes. Jameson,
Let
cheers.
it sink in.
Yes, and we did. And we shall. And I have a lot to talk about today.
Oh, well, let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen, with this week's WWE Report. Well, this past Monday on Raw, as we talked about last week, Sting was announced for WWE 2K15, the video game series from WWE. He also has said in a recent interview that he does not have a WWE performance contract, but he does indeed want one, and he wants to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31.
Shocking.
Now, Sting has a promotional contract with WWE, I think similar to what the Ultimate Warrior signed when he was part of WWE 2K14. But an interesting tweet was sent out by Vince McMahon earlier this week. Vince McMahon, who, by the way, tweets as a wrestling company owner as opposed to another one who...
someone's a little snarky today.
No, not snarky. It's just, when McMahon tweets, you watch. Why? Because he tweets maybe once a week, once a month, and it's special when he does it. In this case, his tweet said, hashtag WWE 2K15 with Sting. Does art imitate life? The photo attached had Sting standing in a ring looking into the camera.
Yes.
So, you said it, David Hero, last week, Sting, probably a video game announcement. That was the case. Some fans disappointed, some fans satisfied.
Do you know why they're disappointed?
Fans excited
because
about it.
they had expectations. And you can't have expectations.
But still,
it's the first step to disappointment.
But still good to see Sting performing actively in some way, shape, or form in WWE. I never said that. I just said I didn't want to hear him talk, didn't want to see him wrestle. I said I'd be fine with that. But right match, right time, I'm in.
There is no right match and right time. Undertaker and Sting could be terrible. It really could. Both guys are beat up. But it's a great payday for both guys.
Thus meaning the fans would be interested in that matchup. Is that all that's left for The Undertaker at this stage in his career? If he even wrestles again, because that's in doubt, folks.
Sting is not a defining moment for The Undertaker's career. He's not.
Is he a good end cap for The Undertaker's career?
I think the end cap was Brock Lesnar.
Beating him.
Yeah.
What reason does The Undertaker have to wrestle another match at WrestleMania?
Because he might want the match with Sting.
Or does he want redemption for his loss?
He got a hell of a payday. That's his redemption.
Story-wise, for the fans.
No, he doesn't care. Because in a year from now, no one's going to remember. They're going to forget about it.
Will.
It's not going to be that big of a deal.
But can they make it a big deal?
No, you know why? Because if you're going to have Sting versus Undertaker, you can't have it be, well, it's because he lost to Brock Lesnar. Because now the story's about Brock Lesnar. The story has to be about Sting versus Undertaker.
But any match at WrestleMania with The Undertaker, should it happen, and if it were for the redemption of I lost, I want to prove to myself I still can do it, or is it a better story that I'm done, I can't do it anymore, Brock Lesnar beat me, the streak is over, thus I, The Undertaker, am also done?
I think that makes the most sense.
So what does that mean for Sting, if he were to have a match?
How can the wrestling fans want that? They get upset when The Rock comes back for a couple of matches.
But they don't get upset when Jericho comes back for a couple of matches.
Yeah, I mean, they don't get upset when Brock Lesnar, but, you know.
Well, they did, because a part-timer ended the streak.
But Sting, I mean, he hasn't, it'll be a year, but, you know, before he's back in ring again.
Why was Ric Flair on Raw this past Monday night is the question I have. It was a bit of an awkward segment, David Hero, where he came out basically to promote the four-way matchup at Battleground tomorrow night on pay-per-view.
And for John Cena to give him the world championship.
True.
Because now he doesn't have to carry two belts anymore.
Or does he?
No, he doesn't. He gave it to Rick. Rick took it.
That could have been a special moment. Could have been words.
I just think I think Cena got sick of having both belts on the bus and said, I'll give this one back to Rick. He could use it right now.
Are you saying something bad about John Cena? Because apparently we never do on this program.
Not at all. Those belts are heavy. You've carried a belt before.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Yeah.
Bringing all the wrestling events I go to.
They're 25 pounds.
Why didn't John Cena help Dean Ambrose? Why didn't Roman Reigns help Dean Ambrose?
They just both sat in the ring.
In the back. Was that not awkward? Because it went on forever.
Here's why Roman Reigns didn't help. Because he doesn't know how to get to the backstage area. His locker room is out by the concession stand.
He's come out down the entrance ramp once or twice.
But every arena is different.
Big circle with a bunch of seats in the middle.
Yeah, so... And they had to. Because they wouldn't have gotten back there in time.
But couldn't they at least showed us that they were making some effort to get back there? They
don't like Dean Ambrose.
But they also don't like Kane and Randy Orton.
Yeah, but I think they like Dean Ambrose less.
The Zeb Coulter and Lana segment, obviously with Jack Swagger and Rusev involved as well, was good, but I think they might have some problems going forward with this story.
It kind of reminds you of when Sergeant Slaughter turned Iraqi sympathizer, doesn't it?
Yeah, but things had already happened, and they took advantage of the Desert Storm event. This is now a story where something has happened, and now it's going to be awkward.
Are you blaming the Malaysia flight?
No, I'm not blaming. I'm saying there's now some big problems with... I watched Fox News the other day.
Oh, my goodness.
I wanted to give them a try with some breaking news coverage when this plane went down over in Ukraine. And apparently, we should be attacking and going to war with Russia yesterday. So if that were the case, according to the beloved Fox News, because war is the only answer, then this is going to be a problem for putting Putin's image up on the screen and talking about how great Russia is. And I mean, it's great heat, but WWE, I don't think at this time can afford that heat.
Do you know who's relieved about all this heat?
Who that?
Is Frontier Airlines. Because now they are no longer...
They are
no longer the worst airline in the world. Okay? I'll be damned if I'm the guy on a Malaysia flight. Well, it doesn't matter. Malaysia Airlines has it. I mean, they can't find planes and they get shot down.
When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, more about WWE, including the fall of Adam Rose, and is Damien Sandow really being buried? That when we come back here on the Pro Wrestling Report on My24 Milwaukee and PWRshow.com.
Follow us on Twitter for breaking news, live wrestling chat, and pure hilarity. Head over to twitter.com/PWR Show and be part of the conversation.
Gotta celebrate, laugh, and get excited about good times and good living. Come on and shout it out. Hey! Take it up, take it over, take it out of control. Today I'm free of my soul, and now you got me singing. Oh, hey! I'm feeling fine, smiling big, feeling right like I should. Life is better than good, yeah, you got me singing.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report PrimeTime here on My24 Milwaukee and PWRshow.com. Damien Nelson sitting here alongside David Hero, and let's continue talking about the WWE, if you will. And, well, Adam Rose.
Who?
I have selected him as part of the Nelson family in the PWR Fantasy Draft.
Career killer.
And I gotta say, his stock, at least with me, has fallen a bit. And the whole entrance and the indie workers doing the Rosebuds thing has gotten old to me already. Mm-hmm. Is this a fall for Adam Rose, who might have a match with Damien Sandow, who we'll talk about in a minute tomorrow night?
I think, and we've had this talk before, when we've said, who does Adam Rose relate to? Women, men, children, and no one wants to take claim to him.
You don't want to be a...
No, I don't want to be a Rosebud. Well, I'll be a Rosebud because of Thea Trinidad. You know, Rosita, she's a Rosebud. Uh-huh. The best one out there. But, no, I have no desire to do that. I don't. Now, Linda, she's been trying to be a Rosebud for quite a long time. Bless her heart.
Damien Sandow, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you have reached out to us to ask why he's being buried by WWE. Now, here's the point that might be being missed as it pertains to Damien Sandow, and the point that should be obvious, because on each and every week on WWE Raw, Damien Sandow gets a prominent segment.
So how he's not buried?
If
because
he
if
were
you're
being buried,
You
would not
be seen.
at all.
People.
So while you may not like what he's doing, this probably is something. It's something that is going to pay off eventually. I, for one, have been entertained by one at the Damien Sandow, not just because he shares a name that is related
Similar to the
Godness.
devil. Yeah.
But is it? What's next for Sandow? Is this the right thing for him? Like I said, he's been on TV.
He's on
every
TV
week.
every week, so he's not forgotten yet.
I mean, he even got to be Vince McMahon.
Yes.
If he were being buried, quote unquote, there's no chance in hell. See what I did there?
Yes.
That he would be allowed to perform in that role. He was Bret Hart in the ring with Bret Hart on a big return in Montreal. So Damien Sandow's not being buried, ladies and gentlemen. While, again, I understand that you may feel that this is not the best role for him and that he is not, quote unquote, being pushed. We're getting Sandow each and every broadcast from WWE, and thus that makes it right. That's this week's WWE Report. Let's move on and talk about TNA Impact Wrestling. Now, Impact had their first show from New York City, the Hammerstein Ballroom, this past Thursday night. While the show looked good and the fans were engaged, they didn't kick it off the way I hoped they would. They seemed to talk more about the past, being ECW, while trying to sell the future. Now, this was including the return of the six-sided ring, but Taz did make a good point in his opening promo where he said it was what set TNA apart from the other wrestling companies. 11 minutes of discussion. Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray, Taz, and Kurt Angle to open the show. Shorter than normal talking segments on Impact, but did they do what they needed to do, which was reinvent TNA and Impact Wrestling in those first 11 minutes on Thursday?
No, what they're trying to do is get over a defunct company that no longer exists. Because that's what they think is the right thing to do, unfortunately.
Because they're in New York or just in general?
Because, let's face it, the ECW brand, even though it's bankrupt, is worth more than TNA Impact Wrestling.
Wow.
Right?
That is unfortunately
it is true.
As far as the brand goes. Not talking about the talent,
No,
not talking about the...
I'm talking about more people know what ECW is than they do TNA.
More people know what ECW was than they know what Impact Wrestling is.
It's still there, yes.
Wow. All right, well said. I did, however, think that 8-man matchup was great, and it was needed to showcase the six-sided ring. And Austin Aries getting a win there, a nice win. Austin Aries on his way to probably using option C to capture or cash in for his chance at the TNA World Championship. Austin Aries,
he's been a great MVP-type talent for that company.
You know, he is the greatest man that ever lived from Milwaukee.
Brookfield. It's Brookfield.
They say Milwaukee.
I know, but you know, and you got to thank Angel Armani for bringing out the best.
How are you gonna mention him every week?
Because he likes to hear about himself. You know that.
Devon returns at the end of the show, reuniting with Bully Ray. Team 3D is back.
That's shocking. Let's do an ECW tribute show and reunite the Dudley Boys.
If you weren't an ECW fan, though, did you view this as an ECW tribute show or just a different feeling version of Impact?
They're building the ECW originals into TNA Impact Wrestling right now. Because for the next 4 weeks, they're going back to New York in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I'm going to San Diego.
California?
Yes, for the Comic-Con.
And
I will be at the Comic-Con at booth A4, I'm sorry, with Al Snow and Mr. Anderson. We will be signing autographs and taking pictures.
You're signing autographs?
Of course I am.
What's your fee? Free?
No, of course, there's always a fee. I have a great autograph. It's fantastic.
Finishing up with TNA, ladies and gentlemen, on a night where they were focusing on quote-unquote wrestling, they ended with a promo segment with Dixie Carter instead of the great matchup that was between Bobby Lashley and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, it's Dixie Carter.
Now, the end is going to justify the means here with Dixie Carter. I think that story will pay off, and it will pay off in a couple of weeks.
It does.
If you've read the spoilers, you'll see.
Yes, it does.
But at the same time, you know, if wrestling is your focus, show me, don't tell me. And I don't think they showed me from what was a good but not great episode of Impact this past Thursday night.
A lot of people in TNA Impact Wrestling have never been in the ring before.
I'm sorry?
The office people.
Okay.
So they don't truly understand the wrestling business part of it.
So how can they be wrestling?
It's sports entertainment.
Well, folks, that's this week's TNA Impact Wrestling Report. Now let's go to this week's Event Center. Now, Linda is out of pocket this week.
What?
That's what they say down south.
Out of pocket?
Yeah, she's on assignment. We'll see the results of that.
I can't wait to see the results of that.
Here. So in the Event Center this week, let's take a look at what's going on. And of course, the Event Center brought to you by Gruber Law Offices, where one call, that is all you need. So let's talk about the events, including Ring of Honor Wrestling coming to Milwaukee's Turner Hall on August 22nd. Great seats available for that huge event on August 22nd. You can go to rohwrestling.com for all the details on that big show.
And then don't forget Sunday, August 10th. You have big, sexy Kevin Nash returning to Milwaukee. It's an evening with real Kevin Nash and friends. Al Snow, X-Pac, Kevin Nash, big Q&A at the Miramar
All three
Theater.
of them are going to be there?
Yes. Go to Blizzard Brawl.
That's breaking news.
BlizzardBrawl.com for more information on that.
That's Sunday, August 10th, 7 p.m. at the Miramar Theater, located at 2844 North Oakland Avenue. As Dave said, tickets available at BlizzardBrawl.com, and all tickets I understand include something special.
There's always a meet and greet.
That's it for this week's Event Center, presented to you by Gruber Law Offices. And now let's go on over to DHS to hear the spoken word of David Hero.
TNA Wrestling has decided to let their world champion Bobby Lashley compete in a Bellator MMA fight this fall. This has potential to be really bad for business. With a successful set of tapings in New York and Lashley being built up as a legitimate A-plus champion, too much can go wrong in an MMA fight. Even if Lashley has a hand-picked opponent, all it takes is a fluke, and the TNA World Impact Wrestling Champion could lose to an unnamed fighter, and all credibility is lost. TNA needs to protect their investment and keep improving a broken brand. Let their stars get mainstream media in a different way, and let MMA be MMA and TNA be TNA. If you don't believe me, look at what happened to King Mo. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
Well, thank you, Dave, for that. DHS, TNA Impact Wrestling.
Yes, I'm concerned, and I think I've laid out the spoken word again this week.
Well, it's time for Be the Booker, folks. Tomorrow night, it's WWE Battleground on pay-per-view, and let's talk about this big event, because this is very critical for WWE, as they will use this Battleground to set the stage for SummerSlam,
yes,
which is very, very, very important to the company. So as we talk about this, a lot of the thoughts will not be for the 3 hours that will be Battleground. It'll be for the month leading to and months following SummerSlam.
And we'll be at SummerSlam.
In Los Angeles.
Sweet and sexy.
Sweet and sexy. Sweet tickets still available right now at PWRshow.com. Go there, check it out. Join us in a suite at the Staples Center for SummerSlam. But let's get to the matches. 2 out of 3 falls. Best 2 out of 3 falls matchup. You don't see them often, but we have built to this for the Tag Team Championships. The Usos defending against Rowan and Harper. In this match, it is the Hero Super Friends versus Nelson family.
Yes, it is. And I have the Usos, the tag team champions of the world, who have been on quite the roll as of late, but they've gotten beaten down by Rowan and Harper the last couple weeks, including on Monday Night Raw, which was a little disturbing for me. 2 out of 3 falls match. You got to believe that the Usos will be booked as the underdog, fighting from underneath the entire match against the more powerful and vicious Rowan and Harper. As much as I would like to see the titles change hands and give the belts to Rowan and Harper, because I think they've done an amazing job, you got to believe that the Usos are somehow going to come out of it.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that it's going to set up another match at SummerSlam between the two of these teams.
Does it need to be? Well, I guess it does need to be. As we speak about SummerSlam, though, what about the team of Stardust and Goldust, who we have not seen in the ring for a couple of weeks and aren't on this pay-per-view? Maybe they're being.
I would love to see Stardust and Goldust against Harper and Rowan.
That'd be a fun match.
But you got to figure they're going to Los Angeles for SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. For the Usos,
that's where Star shines. So Stardust should be a heavily promoted feature.
He will be used there. But I'm saying the Usos, the West Coast is their hometown.
The Divas Championship will be on the line as AJ Lee defends against her old nemesis, new friend, new nemesis, Paige.
if they truly want to make Paige the bad girl, the heel, the one that everyone's going to boo.
The Australian?
She's from Australia?
That's what I hear.
Oh.
When she talks.
Down under? They're going to have to let Paige beat AJ Lee. Because AJ is beloved by the wrestling fans.
Why?
Because she's married to CM Punk, even though that hasn't been confirmed. Wait, are you starting rumors again?
I don't do that on this show.
No, you don't. AJ and Paige, two little girls fighting, going to be interesting.
Cat fight!
But you know what? They got to give it back to Paige.
Really?
They really do. Because otherwise, their investment has been wasted.
All right. Chris Jericho will take on Bray Wyatt.
Yes. Jericho comes back. He's been putting guys over left and right the last few times he's been back.
Remember his last run? He never won a match.
No, he didn't. He lost everybody. That's why I think this match here is going to be interesting. Because Jericho can't beat Bray Wyatt his first match back after about a year off. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt should beat Jericho, but then, well, if he beats Jericho, now it's done. Let's have one of those screw job, no finishes, double count out, double DQ, match thrown out kind of thing, whatever, where no one gets pinned or submits to then set up a rematch at SummerSlam.
Because again, this is less about Battleground and more about SummerSlam.
More about
and
SummerSlam.
What does a Bray Wyatt do or a Chris Jericho do at SummerSlam, if not have another match with each other?
Right. So by me going here, it means that it might be a disqualification finish.
Or Rowan and Harper could be involved.
Right. So.
Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. The Shield members face off at Battleground.
Yeah. Interesting.
Seth Rollins, of course, Mr. Money in the Bank.
So he's been made. He doesn't need it. Ambrose has been like the redheaded stepchild. He's been beaten down nonstop. He needs some momentum. He got beat up on Monday Night Raw, so
Got destroyed on Monday
he
night.
did. So you got to figure he's the wounded warrior coming in. Seth Rollins already has the briefcase.
And he's Plan B, apparently.
Seth Rollins is. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Dean Ambrose defeats Seth Rollins. They need to, because otherwise, if Seth Rollins defeats Dean Ambrose, now all three of the Shield guys are no longer on the same level. Ambrose drops a couple spots.
If he hasn't already.
Well, that's why he gets to pick it back up again.
Be the Booker, ladies and gentlemen. That's half the action. It continues right after this timeout. We talk about the Fatal 4-Way for the championship, the Battle Royal, and Rusev versus Swagger. We'll be back in a moment.
Don't miss your chance to catch the best pro wrestling on the planet. Ring of Honor Wrestling returns to Milwaukee for Death Before Dishonor 12 at the Turner Hall Ballroom Friday, August 22nd at 7:30 p.m. with appearances by the phenomenal AJ Styles, the Young Bucks, Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian, ROH legends the Briscoes, the new world champ Michael Elgin, and many more. Experience body slamming, brain busting pro wrestling action live. Visit ROHWrestling.com now for tickets and info.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night here on My 24 Milwaukee. Damien Nelson with David Hero, and it is Be the Booker for tomorrow night's WWE Battleground. Before the break, we said, if this fantasy booking segment, that the Usos will win in a 2 out of 3 falls matchup against Rowan and Harper and retain the tag team championships. Paige walks out of Battleground, the new Divas champion, defeating AJ Lee. Bray Wyatt, Chris Jericho, shenanigans will prevail in that matchup. No clear winner to be determined. Dean Ambrose gets a win over Seth Rollins so that he can step back up to be an equal member of the former Shield members. And the next matchup, it's Rusev with Lana versus Jack Swagger
This match
with Zeb Coulter.
has potential to be a fight. Two big beasts throwing haymakers, punch and kick, and
So it could be a Pier 6.
it could be a Pier
It
6.
could be a Donnybrook.
It very well
It could even be a slobber knocker.
Well, Lana is involved, so anything's possible. So, but this match is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm a big Rusev fan. I've always been a Jack Swagger guy. But you got to believe with all the nonsense that's going on in the world, they got to capitalize on the heat with Rusev.
That's a slippery slope.
And I
That's
can
real
see Rusev making Jack Swagger tap.
Doesn't he have to? Doesn't he have to?
He really does.
Given and not desensitizing the tragedy that happened this week, there there's almost no other option.
That is Vince McMahon's new Russian. He loves those character heels, and he has it. And if you watch Rusev, the way he works in the ring, he's almost channeling a little bit of his inner Umaga.
Ooh, Maga.
Just that beast that goes out and destroys people.
It will be a battle royal, ladies and gentlemen, for the vacant Intercontinental Championship, which will be turned over by Wade Barrett at the show to the winner of the battle royal. And we didn't go through all the names here, but here are the notable participants, if you will.
Well, hold on a second, then take Kali off of there.
Cesaro, Kofi Kingston, RVD, the endorsed Dolph Ziggler, Big E, Ryback, Curtis Axel, Alberto Del Rio, Bo Dallas, Sheamus, and The Miz. It seems as if one of these men are primed to win the Intercontinental Championship.
Obviously the favorites are Cesaro,
Mr. Battle Royal, the king of Battle Royals,
and Sheamus. Now, keep in mind, Cesaro was removed from Paul Heyman on Monday Night Raw.
Well, but they're back.
But
Heyman was busy. Plan C.
Right, but I'm just saying they're doing character development with Cesaro to see how he does on his own.
Or
is
it not supposed to be so obvious to us what Paul Heyman's up to, which is his plan to walk out of SummerSlam with all the gold?
Well, right, but that can't happen. But
it can, because Brock Lesnar could beat John Cena, become WWE champion, and Cesaro could win this matchup and become the Intercontinental
I don't
champion.
think Cesaro's going to win it here in the Battle Royal.
How could he not win this Battle Royal after winning the Andre the Giant Invitational Battle Royal?
Because there's one guy in here that I think, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, has the opportunity to win.
There's no chance.
I think Bo Dallas
no chance. You're so
can be the guy that can win the Battle Royal and become the new Intercontinental Champion. As a matter of fact,
for what? Turn down for what?
I'm so confident. I'm going to add Bo Dallas to Team Super Friends.
How are you going to add him?
Because I haven't replaced Daniel Bryan yet.
Oh, a couple months late. Typical.
I'm still winning.
Yeah, barely.
Even with half a team.
Barely. We're only halfway through.
But if they really want to get Bo Dallas over with this I believe nonsense, having him defeat Cesaro and Sheamus and The Miz and established guys that he believes he could, I can just see it. I think that's the way to go. You got to put the belt on Bo Dallas.
It's Cesaro or Sheamus, in my opinion, in this matchup. Sheamus with the U.S. Championship, maybe somehow or another both those titles get unified after this win.
Well, that's fine, but this isn't your segment. This is mine.
The World Heavyweight Championship will be on the line, ladies and gentlemen. 4 men, fatal 4-way. The champion does not have to lose his championship. The participants, John Cena, Randy Orton, Kane, and Roman Reigns. Who walks out of Battleground with the belts?
Well, we all know who's going to leave Battleground. It's going to be John Cena. Because the money match, I hate to jump to SummerSlam again right away, but it's Cena versus Brock Lesnar. That's where they're going with it. But who gets beat? Kane is the obvious one because he can afford it. Beating Randy Orton does more damage. I kind of think John Cena beats Roman Reigns.
It could be a story down the road.
So I'm going to pick John.
Wait a minute, you're saying Roman Reigns won't win this matchup, won't win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship tomorrow night at Battleground?
No, I am saying that John Cena is going to beat Roman Reigns. He's going to pin Roman Reigns.
Well, that is Battleground, ladies and gentlemen, at least the way that guy would book it tomorrow night on pay-per-view. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at PWR Show for live coverage of the pay-per-view event all night long, including your feedback and questions and comments. Thank you so much for joining us here on PWR Primetime on My24 Milwaukee and PWRshow.com for that one. This is Damien Nelson saying thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Primetime.